All right. Hello, everyone. So, when I put out my video on Wednesday, I'd said that I was going to put out another one. So I decided I was just going to go ahead and just do a live stream today to go over, just some of the things that I've noticed over the last, 6 months since I've been doing this. Sorry, I'm doing things on my windows here. Um, and so I figured I'd just do it, live at the same time. So hello everybody. I don't know if anybody's gonna join in today, but I figured we'll just go ahead and get started. So I I got to tell you, that it's been 6 months since I started, and I mean it's definitely been an up and down. Um, but I have to tell you, the downs do not outweigh the up. I've had, I've stumbled a few times, absolutely, but I mean, honestly, for the most part, things have been really good. I showed you some of the numbers that I had from the other day, and hello, hey, hi everybody. Sorry, I'm just kind of popping back and forth here between screens. Um, but I tell you that I mean, the most exciting thing that I saw was the A1C, and actually, they were able to do that test right then and there in the doctor's office. So that was great. And I mean that if nothing else, that made my day. I mean, actually, I think that made my probably year. I think at that point because because I've been doing this for so long and I wanted to see those results, and I was really happy to see that I am not only out of diabetes range, but I'm out of the pre-diabetes. So as one doctor put it, that it's gone into remission, and that it's so and now it's just up to me, honestly, to keep it away. And I mean, these last 6 months definitely have not been a waste of time. I mean, it's been work, it really has. But I mean, at the same time, it it has been something that has been enjoyable. So today was I just wanted to go over some things that I've thought about over the past week. Things that, just beyond the numbers and just the regular update. So that's what today was for. So, a lot of times over, the last 6 months, I've talked about, one day at a time and one meal at a time. And I mean, to be honest, that's not it's not a catchphrase. I don't know that I was really trying to do that, turn that into one, but it really isn't. Yeah, I mean, it is reality. And especially, for me, having the problem with, battling with cherry coke, and it's just funny how it's just one stupid thing that I've been dealing with. But I mean, it's enough to just kind of, continue to make me stumble a little bit. But um a lot of times in the past, I would just beat myself up and I would quit. And I wouldn't care. I would just say, oh, that's all right. I'll just go on and do something else. But with the results that I've seen over the last 6 months, there's no way. There is absolutely no way that I could stop doing this, because it is. I mean, it's for me. It is sustainable. That's the biggest thing. Was always, all the things I've done over the years. I was never able to sustain it for a very long time. Hey, good morning. How are you? And so I couldn't give it up. I don't think I could give it up now, even if I wanted to. I mean, the idea of going and buying nachos or a big old thing of pasta or pizza or something like that. No, I there's no way that I could go back to that. There's not a chance. Now this one may be a little difficult for some people, but for me, this is what I think is that carnivore really honestly out of I hate using the term diet, but it is one of the easiest things, lifestyles, diets, if you want to call it that, that you will ever do because there's no measuring. There's no okay, well, I got to have 60% protein and 30% carbs and blah 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 blah. No. No, you just go to the store. I mean, seriously, you go to the store and you go to the far end where they have all the red meat and you just buy from there and then you come home. Uh, how much easier can it get? I mean, no, and I realize that a lot of people have family members, um, that aren't doing it, so you've got to go through the rest of the store and buy all this stuff. But for you, I mean, geez, um, you just go right to that section, just buy it, and you're done. And, go to a farmer's market or something like that. And apparently, there's a couple in Charlotte that have farms that will actually go there. One of these days, I'm gonna have to do that. But farms that actually go there and sell their stuff. I mean, I don't know how expensive it is, but I figured I'd give it a try. And you can't go wrong with carnivore. I mean, honestly, it because all you're doing is, you're just buying meat. You're gonna prepare the meat, and then you're gonna consume it. And the anything you're drinking is pretty much just gonna be like coffee or water or maybe even unsweetened tea or somebody. And I didn't write it down, but somebody had mentioned the other day that what they do is they go and buy seltzer water or sparkling water, and then just get drops of just sort of some flavoring or and just put a couple drops in there. And for the most part, the sugar and a lot of the stuff, that a lot of the garbage that's in there is going to dilute, so you're not going to be taking in a ton of sugar, but um at least it's a nice alternative, especially especially when you get to the point where it's like, well, I gotta have soda, I gotta have something right now. So I'm gonna give that a try. And I figure, I mean, what's it hurt? I get one of those little bottles of. Did I go away? Get one of those little bottles of drops, and if it's too much, then I stop. But otherwise, it's just do it every once in a while. I mean, I've gone for the last 3 days, without a soda, and it's been difficult. It really has, because it's a battle for me. But I tell you, the battle's getting easier. I'm able to go through the day, um, and I actually have. See, one of the things that I just like. I think a lot of what I liked out of that was um, just the fact that it was very cold, close to almost close to freezing. There's just something I like that. How about Dr. Kilt's pure ice cream? What is that? Is that something you buy? What else can you tell me about that? Because that would be interesting. My mom at one point she had made ice cream out of let's see, forget, it was I think it was cottage cheese. She did something to, I think she like blitzed it and froze it, and would add a little bit of stuff here and there, and that wasn't that bad. I'm just not really a fan of cottage cheese, but it was either that or cream cheese. I don't remember, but I mean and again, at least as an alternative, it's definitely something to think about and try. Part of his 30-day to carnivore course, all homemade. Okay, I'll definitely look into that. And I'll see what that's all about. I mean, again, just something to have as an alternative to to something to snack on if I'm cringing and I just need something. I mean, I had pork rinds the other day. I haven't had those in a while, and it was nice to have something to just kind of chomp on and for a little bit. So that was really good. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, it is. I mean, it's it's stupid to think about, but it really honestly is. It is a struggle because and it's just like all the other food. It's just like all the other stuff that's out there. There's probably no real way to point and say, yes, you are putting addictive things into your food, into your drinks, into your this and that. But I don't know. To me, it is because otherwise, I mean, if you look at the laundry list of ingredients that go into that stuff, you know that there's no way a normal human being should even think about ingesting that stuff. I tell you. But it's all the flavorings, it's all the this and that, and the preservatives and all the garbage that they put into it. It's insane. Tell you. Oh, it's crazy. And so I'm not making this up, folks. You know, uh, any kind of any kind of soda, it's you're gonna have a problem with it. You really are. But the thing is, if you do this, it's a fight. I mean, honestly, it's a fight for your life, but you will win. I promise. I promise. You just gotta, again, one day at a time. You gotta go back to that mantra. If you've got to write it down and put it like everywhere, one day at a time, one meal at a time, do it because especially when you get started, for those 2 weeks, especially if you just go cold turkey and you just go right into it, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna be cringing. Things may get difficult. You're gonna get hungry. You're gonna want to go out and start chewing on your own arm or something like that. But you will get through it. I promise you will get through it. So another thing is tracking your ailments, and I'm not really sure what the politically correct term is for that, if there is one. But let's see. I think I'm just gonna abstain from all Christmas. Yeah. Honestly, um, because I'm gonna be talking about my brother. My brother started Carnivore last week, so I'm so excited. And he's already, in a week, he's already lost 14 pounds, so he's rocking it. But what's going to be difficult, honestly, is with like you said, like with the holidays coming up. But the nice thing is my brother's doing this. My mom was able to do it for a little while, but she's got some um, in digestive problems that have nothing to do with with carnivore. Um, but so she knows and understands that buying all the junk food is just not gonna fly, especially for some of us. And now there's two people for sure that are doing carnivore. There's a third that has done it, and so they understand what's at stake, and they understand what the garbage will do. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he it was interesting because last Saturday, I went to the store. I bought like about $100 worth of food, with worth of meat, and brought it all here. My mom and I cooked it all here. I took it over to my brother's house, and he's been doing pretty much. It's probably keto is probably the closest, but to transition over to just protein for this last week has been really easy for him, and he's really enjoying it. We've got a couple chuck steaks that we're gonna cook up for him today, and take those over tomorrow before church. And he's still got we've got some other things that we're gonna cook for him too. So we're doing this right now just because um, his schedule right now just doesn't really allow for them to be able to try to do a lot of cooking on the weekends. So we're just kind of helping out to get them started. And I'm really excited. And as I hear more, I'll definitely let people know, because this is probably the first person that I've been able to actually sit down face to face and talk to and discuss carnivore, and to actually have them started. So I'm really happy about that. But anyway, tracking your ailments. So I really am a firm believer in writing down everything that is wrong in your life before you start doing carnivore, before you start doing this, because it's a lot of it may change, and it could be over time. It could be that some of it takes a while, but you may also find that over time, um if you've got something that's like, going by the sort of, hurt scale, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it hurt? um if you've got something that's just constant, but maybe it's like a 7, and you start carnivore, and maybe over a period of 2 or 3 months, that's actually maybe less than down to maybe a 5, maybe even a 4. It's still there. It's still something you can feel, that you notice, but it's not as bad. So that's something to think about too. That's why tracking this stuff really is important. So what I would suggest is, maybe, on day 1 or week 1, sit down, and I mean, it- obviously, if you're, overweight like me, that's number 1. You have diabetes, that could be number 2. Do you have sleep apnea like I do? That could be number 3, right? So write all that down. Some of it you may not be able to give a number to, but at least it's there. I said in the video the other day that I'm noticing with my sleep machine, I'm needing less oxygen. In fact, I'm going to be doing that tonight. I'm going to be adjusting the number down, from 11.0 probably down to 10.0. So I'm still finding that, I'm getting more oxygen into my body than I'm able to expel out. And a lot of times I just gotta, blow it out. I mean, sometimes it's incredible the amount of air that I'm blowing out. I mean, at least I'm sleeping. I'm still very happy and very excited about the fact that I am still sleeping, but I'm not eating as much. And it's weird because, honestly, um, I'm kind of I'm kind of nervous to try actually taking a nap, or maybe even trying to go to sleep without it, like for a night, or even, maybe for an hour, because I've had this thing for so long. It is just, once my body got used to the fact that I put this thing on and I'm able to sleep, it's like, I can't do anything else. It's weird. So, but yeah, folks, write down all the problems, all the issues. And carnivore, it's been said, carnivore, may not fix everything, but it could fix a lot of things. So, and so here's another one is, so, when we talk about carnivore, we're talking about, red meat. So we're also talking about, pork, so bacon, Um, dairy, eggs, cheese, milk. I think raw milk probably is going to be a lot better for you. Fish, and and then you've got bison, buffalo, lamb. So there's a lot of different animals, a lot of different things that you can eat. And and I've mentioned this to a few people before, and I've actually even tried it. Is if you get to the point where as you're going along, if things feel something doesn't feel right, or maybe you're not losing as much. Sorry, I've got something in my eye and it's really bugging me. Um, or just something just maybe just feels a little off. Try doing lion. So again, lion is just ruminant animals. So animals that have more than one ruminant animals is to, animals that have more than one stomach. So again, a cow, I think bison, I think sheep, so lamb. So there's a few things. So you can certainly look that up. So you would be eliminating pork. You'd be eliminating the dairy, but give that a try. And um, try that for a couple weeks. And if you find, because I notice sometimes, because I don't have a gallbladder. I got that out back in 2013. So sometimes, especially like if I eat pork or bacon, especially, um, well, I'm running to the bathroom a lot faster, and sometimes it's I don't know, it just kind of feels like it's kind of heavy in my stomach. So that's what I do a lot of times is I will just go and eliminate the pork. And then if I'm going to do that, then I might as well just go, lion altogether, and then just kind of eliminate the dairy and some of those other things. So it is definitely something to think about. But I would say, if you're going to start, just start. Do carnivore, follow the information that's out there. There's a lot of different websites, tons of videos that are out there. People will talk about it. Start with that. And if the weight's not coming off for you fast enough, or again, if you're feeling if you're feeling kind of odd when you eat certain kinds of food, then start with the very basic, and then you can add it. You can add it back in, right? So if you try, if you remove the pork and then you put it back in, and then you're feeling funky, then it could be the pork. It could just be that there's something about it that your stomach is just and your body is just not, it's just not liking it. So you can eliminate that. Rhonda, hello, how are you? Good morning. So keep that in mind, folks. There are alternatives when you're doing this. So um but see, as long as your body is used to you eating this way, then making those eliminations and then maybe adding them back in to see how things go um will definitely help. Um it'll definitely keep things going for you a lot longer. And again, if you do eliminate something, then there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. So this one was interesting. This idea that the carnivore, when you talk about it to people, and this has happened to me a few times, is not as crazy as it sounds when you're talking to other people about it. So when I went to the doctor the other day, um, the nurse practitioner came in after I got weighed, and she was like, "Wow, you've lost quite a bit. Like, what are you doing?" And honestly, I just looked at her and I said, "Carnivore," and she was like, "Okay." And then she started telling me that her husband is, he actually goes and buys um, bison at a local grocery store. A lot of times bison's kind of expensive, especially when they're selling it in just those um, little 1 pound packages. And um, so she was saying that a lot of times what he'll do is he'll go like on a Monday morning, and a lot of times they'll have it marked down quite a bit because they're trying to get rid of it. I bought I bought one a couple days ago, and it was like $8.99. Excuse me. So for me, on a especially for when things are really tight, $8.99 for 1 pound of meat. And to be honest, it it just tasted like ground beef. Now it could just be the way that I cooked it, because I just cooked it just like I would normally cook ground beef, and just throw it in the pan, cook it up, add some salt and some pepper, and off we go. I mean, there was a little bit of difference in the taste, but it's definitely not something I'm going to go out of my way for, unless I find a more interesting way of cooking it. Because see, like I went to the store this morning, and they have these 3 pound things of ground beef that are marked down to like 8.50. So 3 pounds for 8.50, as opposed to the possibility of getting a 1 pound for $8.99. Yeah, yeah. So, but it I don't know. It's nice that there's something out there that's different. That's an alternative. But to be honest, I'll try it again and again. Maybe because it's all ground up, right? It's not like it's like a hunk of meat and you can go and prepare to do something with it. But I definitely I could definitely try it again, but I would want to find a better way of cooking it. I had a hard time eating cooked ground beef. I did not like burger patty. Yeah, and I've actually heard that a few times, and um, I think it's just for me because I've been doing it, for so long, that I mean, it's actually my staple for breakfast now. Um, I actually just go and just I'll cook it, and I'll cook a couple eggs every once in a while, and that's breakfast. So I've ate ground beef now. If I cook it till it totally browns, yeah, because yeah, because sometimes I've had almost 100% cooked, ground beef or patties, or things like that, and I don't know. To me, I'd rather. I know that some people will cook. I mean, especially like a steak or something like that. Some people may not cook it fully well done, but for me, yeah, ground beef has just got to be 100%, or it's just funny. Or I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about it. Sometimes it just kind of bleh. So, but yeah, all or nothing, man. Okay, so you're right. Yeah. Okay. No, I gotcha. Yeah, because, and I think just the same too. I think if you overcook it, sometimes it's just kind of gets a little too, kind of chewy. So, till crusty. Yeah, that would be interesting to try. I like ground beef and a power bowl. Yeah, BBE. Yeah, no kidding. You know what? Honestly, a ribeye now and then. You know what? I think I need to. I think what it is, again, I'm on, very my budget's very strict, but I think you're right. I think every once in a while, just go for it. Just find one that's kind of thick. Yeah, it may end up being like 15, $16, but just just go for it. And um, because I mean, I will say it, I deserve it. I wish I could afford it all the time, but it would be nice to give it a try. Oh, no, that's interesting. Reheating in the oven. That would be interesting. Meat is still cheaper than yeah, exactly, exactly. That that would be interesting. Unfortunately, I don't have an oven, but um, I could try. I could at least maybe try putting it on the stove and maybe just try heating it up that way and see if I could go with a crunchy kind of texture. That would be interesting. But yeah, grocery bill is definitely going. Yeah, because if you're not buying all the other junk and all you're buying is just meat, and if you look for the stuff that's on sale, I mean, it's definitely going to help you, keep your bill down. I mean, like I said, I on Monday I went and bought, uh, $100 worth of food of meat, and once I took the 3 pounds, I broke them up into one, and because I got like five of those, um, I've definitely got enough to last me for about a week and a half. And yeah, and the meds that you are not paying for. I mean, good lord, and especially if you're having to, inject insulin too, and if you can get away from that, my gosh, the the stupid pill implication. I realize this is a vitamin thing, but this is just the first thing I grabbed. But the idea that you don't have to buy pills anymore. I mean, that in itself should make you feel incredible. Can you try a local food pantry? It is dear. Oh no. Actually, I have a neighbor that goes hunting a lot, and right even around here where I live, there's always deer running around, and every once in a while I'll hear a shot or two. So they may get food out of that. I may actually try because I've never actually had deer, so I may actually reach out to him and ask about a food pantry. Yeah, um, the the only problem with the meat pantry, or sorry, with the food pantry, is most of the time, especially around here, and I'm not knocking food pantries, so please understand. Um, is just a lot of the stuff that they give is just going to be all the stuff that I'm trying to get away from. So I think if I'm going to do that, I need to look into it more, as far as maybe places um, that will actually donate, raw meat. So I'm definitely going to be looking into that, because I've actually thought about that too. And I would love to be able to stretch my, um, the money that I have for my budget. I would love to be able to try to stretch that even more. Um, and so I'm always looking at different deals. I look at three different grocery stores every time I'm about to go, and I just look to see what they have, and I'll base what I'm going to buy off of that. So this other part here that I want to talk about. So this may be. I'm not trying to say anything bad with this one, but I just want you folks to understand that if you're starting out, or if you're going, or you've been doing this for a while, more than likely you're gonna stumble. You're gonna Something will fail. But that's when you take whatever it is, figure out what it was about that whole situation that caused you to fail, and learn from it. And that's what's going to make you stronger. Because the next time that happens, and the next time that starts to come up, you can look back and go, okay, no, wait a minute. I got to the point where this was happening, that triggered this, and then you can see it coming. Now, if you stumble again, Okay, but at least if nothing else, you thought about it. And something crossed your mind to the point where you said, you know what? Maybe I need to stop and kind of consider this. That means you're learning from it. Yeah. Failing is growth. Falling is growth. It really is. It really is. Yeah, venison. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to ask about that. Because like I said, I've never tried it, but I've heard it's really good. So that would be something interesting to try. But yeah, folks, it, don't worry about falling. Don't worry about stumbling. That is a part of life. But that is also the thing that's going to help you figure out the next step, the next way to go. So just just keep smiling, folks. Yeah, things are getting ugly out there, but you know what? We're going to be able to do a lot better because we are getting away from the garbage. We are getting away from the stuff that's killing us. I've always talked about how, um, there are warning labels for alcohol. There are warning labels for cigarettes. There should be warning labels for sugar. I mean, seriously, when you go down the aisle where they've got all the candy bars, there should be a warning label. There should be a big old sign. When you walk into at least where out here where I live, when you walk into a grocery store now, there is a big sign that they have up that talks about, how bad cigarettes are. There should be something like that on the door for saying, look, 80% of everything in the store is probably going to kill you. So, listening while preparing breakfast. Yeah. Bacon, eggs, cottage cheese. There you go. That's right. That's the way to do it, folks. I tell you, it's unfortunate because there's just so many people out there that are just wandering around in a daze, in a fog, because they believe that what they're eating is correct. They hear this from people, they hear it from the stores, they hear it on TV. They're people We're inundated with this. I mean, do you ever honestly see commercials anymore where an entire family sits down to dinner and they're having large amounts of meat? No. Probably saw that in like the 50s and 60s, but not anymore. Now it's mac and cheese and something that was fried and just all this stuff. And that's how these people are making money. It's unfortunate. That's why we've got to go out and tell people about it. Yeah, you see that sign in a grocery store. No kidding. No kidding. I mean, it was a premium steam proper human diet. That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh my gosh. We need to give ourselves all a PhD. I love that. Oh man. Oh, that's great. Oh, I tell you, folks. Uh, it's just interesting. And, I think that's why I do this. I think that's why I try to talk to as many people as I can. Um, and it makes it easier, I think, sometimes, especially if it's somebody that you know. And, when you've been given the red pill and you take it and you wake up and you realize, You're actually in the matrix, but the matrix is garbage. You want to go and tell everybody, and I think that's where having having the receipts, having everything to back up what you're about to tell these people, that's what's going to help the most. Now, I'm not saying, it's not like okay, you must go through 8 months of carnivore before you can talk to. No, no. But what I was talking about writing everything down, keeping track of everything. For somebody like me, when you're losing weight, that number is the easiest to spit out because you probably just weighed in the other day. So that number is going to be fresh on your mind. But if you can go and start talking about, A1C numbers and your cholesterol, and I've had this inflammatory thing, it's gone. That's why you write it all down. That's why you track all that stuff. Folks, keep it on your phone. Write it down if you have to. I mean, that's one of the things that I think we've lost over the years is, I mean, how many of you remember, like, my mom and I were talking about this the other day. How many of you remember those little tiny little phone books that you would have at home or you would carry around that had all everybody's phone number in it? Now it's just on your phone. But how many of the numbers that are on here do you know? For me, it's probably two, maybe three. But years ago, my gosh, I knew like half of the that book. I used to know like half of the numbers because I called them all the time and I had to look them up. So folks, you know, type it in, write it down, do something to keep it so that when it comes time, you pull that information out. That's Dr. Barry's concept. Yeah. Um, it's I tell you folks, this is one of those things that will either make life a lot more difficult for you over time if you eat sad, eat the standard American diet, or the horrible diet that most people eat nowadays, or you take that red pill, you finally wake up and you just start doing it, and then you start telling people about it. You know, do any of you know why sometimes beef tastes delicious and other times it's rancid? So there's just something about, I don't know. There's something about, like, if you I notice this, like, with like ground beef especially. If I buy some and then I stick it in the fridge and I forget about it for a few days, it starts turning a different color. It kind of goes from the red that most people know, kind of starts turning kind of a brownish color. Now I realize, I looked it up, and sometimes that's just kind of oxidation kind of getting into the meat. But I remember a couple times where I would eat it and it just had an odd taste. Is it aging? I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's why, like, when if especially, when I the other day, I mean, I ended up coming home with 15 pounds of ground beef. That's why a lot of it I just freeze right away, because I know that there's no way I'm going to cook all of it and consume it in a few days, and I don't want it to look too funky. But I don't know. It could just be aging. It could be that, because I don't want to throw anybody off, but I mean, let's be honest. We don't know how long that stuff has been sitting around. Um, and see, I think that's why sometimes, some of the ground beef that I buy is on sale, because it could have been sitting around for a little while. It's the fat that's the problem. Yeah. And now, I mean, if it's all the time, I mean, you certainly can go and maybe not with ground beef, but if you get the meat as like a chuck steak or something large where there's the marbling in there. I don't know, that might actually be better. Because at least if nothing else, that you can see and you can cut and you can eliminate if you need to. But also, again, you don't know how. I mean, you can see that, especially if the marbling looks good. If it looks strong, that I think that would help. Um, but I mean, there are some people that don't like, who have been doing carnivore for a while, who just do not like the taste of fat. Especially like if it's a steak or a big piece of meat with some fat in it, they just don't like it. And so they'll just eliminate it. And I mean, I think I like breaking it down so I can cook with it. And the nice thing is then I think at that point you're not really tasting the fat that much. You're just kind of using it to cook. So that's why I like doing, especially with bacon fat, I like doing that. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says you can't get rid of it. I had a prime rib at a restaurant, and the fat was delicious, but sorry, I got the stupid heart thing, and I have no idea what the rest of it. But the stuff I buy doesn't taste good. Okay. Um, See, I think okay, so this is just me, but maybe, and I promise I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. But maybe try going to like a farmer's market, or maybe even if you can to, like maybe a farm directly. Because chances are that, because like a restaurant is probably going to get large amounts of meat a lot faster, and they're going to cook it a lot quicker rather than some of this stuff kind of sitting around for a few days in a store. And it's probably going to be stored better. So maybe try that. But again, I realize that if you're going like, direct to a farm, a lot of times they may end up charging a little more, kind of just because they can. Um, so that would be honestly, that would be an interesting experiment if you're able to do that. Is maybe one day, um, if you're able to, if there's a farm or a farmer's market or somewhere that's close by, try going and buying a ribeye from one of those places, and then go to the store where you normally buy them. Cook them both and see what happens. I think it would be an interesting experiment, and I would be interested in hearing the results, especially if you cook them both the exact same way, you prepare them the exact same way, whatever spices, if you're using just like salt, pepper, or whatever. I don't know. That would be interesting. I think that might be a good discussion too. Learning the difference between good LDL. Chief explains the type 2 diabetes of LDL. He talked about the brain. I'm assuming that's a brain LDL as fluffy and available for use. Bad LDL is the one that gets stuck. Yeah, I've been, especially, now that I've seen my numbers, I've kind of been looking into um, the cholesterol numbers a little more, and I'm trying to get away from the information that's out there for purchase basically, and just kind of going with some of the doctors and different people um, that have been discussing this. Second day beef nearly always has that odd wang. That's what Mom used to say. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I can, it because, and I think that's why. Now, no, okay. So here's something else to think about too. Um, if you go and buy like a big old hunk of meat, maybe that's got some fat. And okay, so let's say for example, where's my mic? Oh, there. So let's say for example, you go to a store, or you go, you do the experiment, and you like what you buy from the farmer's market or from the farm itself. Now, I'm not saying that you're able to, but a lot of people will actually have a way to ground. If they go and buy like a big old chuck or something like that, they go and ground it themselves. Chances are that ground beef is probably going to taste 100% better than the stuff you get in the store. And it's probably still cut from the same stuff. So the volume is good. A lot of times, yeah, okay. So I'm going to switch gears here real quick, and I'm going to answer this. So, Erica, what happens sometimes is when I go to record videos, I've usually got somebody right in the other side of the wall, right in front of me here, where they're watching TV, and especially because a lot of times my nephew's here, so he's watching whatever it is that he watches for a 4-year-old. So sometimes it gets kind of loud. So I've got to take the microphone volume down when I record, and then when I'm editing, I try to bump it back up. And unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't get loud enough. And if I start going too high, then it starts hissing, and then it just gets weird. So trying to work on that. It just happens to be that, especially like right now, there's somebody else here. So, um, I mean, aside from the fan going behind me, which you probably can't hear because I've got the mic on the other side of my face, um, there shouldn't be any other noises in the background, so I can just talk normal. So I'm gonna try and keep working on that. I promise. With all my cholesterol numbers good, I don't worry about LDL. Yeah. And honestly, I think with all the information, and from the different doctors who do carnivore, uh I agree. I mean, honestly, I don't really think there is any real reason to be looking at cholesterol. I mean, honestly, let's look at all the people that have been doing this for years, even the people that are starting to do it. Their numbers are changing. They're getting better, and I have a feeling that the chances of things like a heart attack, or different things along those lines that are supposed to be caused by cholesterol probably don't exist. So, something to think about. All right. Wow. Geez, I've been going for almost an hour. Good Lord. So if anybody is interested, you do not have to have a camera. If you have at least a microphone, and you feel like jumping in, there is the link. If you feel like coming in, we can talk. We can talk about whatever you want. Folks, I am still very much interested in interviewing people, talking about your carnivore journey. I would still love to be able to do that. So, you can certainly reach out to me, and the email address, the lawnwars01@gmail.com. It's in the about section. Um, you can certainly email me, and we can set something up. And if it gets to a point where maybe you're in another country, or we're just not able to set something up that's going to work for the both of us, I can always send you the questions ahead of time. It's the same questions that I ask everybody else, and I did have somebody that could go ahead, and she just recorded all of her answers. She just used her phone, and took one question at a time, created one file out of it, and then when she was done, she sent me all the files, and then I asked her to send me a couple pictures, maybe a before and after if she's got one, or if you've got one, and then I just put them all together and turn them into a video and upload it. So there are certainly possibilities. Something else, and I don't know, I just like kind of thought this was cool. Um, and I promise I'm not trying to ask you folks to spend any money, but if you happen to notice at the bottom of the chat, there should be the little dollar sign there, so I can actually start getting super chats now. I was able to get to the point where the first stage of monetization kicked in. Actually, it was I think it was early this morning is when I got an email saying that everything was set up. So um, I so it allows for super chats, and then it also allows, if you wanted to do like a thank you on one of my videos, you can certainly do that. So I'm not going to push that. I may mention every once in a while, but um, that's definitely not the intent. I just wanted to let you folks know. So, does anybody have any questions? Anything you wanted to talk about? It doesn't necessarily have to be. Oh my gosh! Woo! I actually got one. Deezed for $10. Oh my gosh! Thank you for sharing your success and opportunities to improve. Thank you. Oh my god, that is so awesome. Thank you very much. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, wow. I just and folks, even when I was when I had the GoFundMe up, it's actually still up, but because I don't know how to take it down. But I was so overwhelmed by, everybody that helped out with that too. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And see, I think that's why also. Thank you so much. Just found the channel and oh, that's great because when I first started this, um, back in June, I think it was when I started uploading. One of the things I told myself, and is one of the things I keep telling everybody is, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go, whole hog, yeah, pun intended. Um, I'm going to share everything that goes along with it, the good and the bad. So the fact that I was able to do, the video earlier this week with the numbers, that was great. But there are sometimes a video will come out and um, things will be, I things may not be good. Weight may be up, because of water weight. Um, and that could bum me out. I'm still having, things I've been talking about, having issues with cherry coke, and that was something I had mentioned before, is soda can lead to inflammation can lead to um water retention can lead to your weight all of a sudden going up 5-10 pounds in a day, because your body doesn't know how to get rid of all that stuff. And if you're somebody like me who drinks glasses like this, a lot of times I'll end up drinking, that's 32 ounces. So sometimes I'll end up drinking 3 or 4 of those a day. So, if I'm not going to the bathroom enough, it's just gonna kind of build up. But the thing is, the battle will continue, but eventually your body will catch up, the weight will drop, the water will be excreted out, and the weight will come down. So again, that's one of the things that I've always tried to talk about too, is don't freak out when you're seeing your weight going, you know, it's the downward spot. It's the downward trend that you're looking for, but it may kind of plateau. Sometimes it may go up and down, up and down. I wish I could show it. I don't know if my phone will show it. I think I tried this once and it didn't really turn out all that well. No, I don't want to add. I just want to bring. Sorry, folks, real quick. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try not to put it in too much light, but this is this is the trend from when I started on May 11th of this year. So you can see, I mean, there's a big trend down, but then it goes up, and then it comes down, and then it goes up again, and then it goes down, and then it goes up again, and then it goes down. So don't freak out about that, because it's just the way your body deals with the liquid in, the liquid out, and the other things that go out. How often do you weigh? So um, I weighed Wednesday morning because that was 180 days for me. But normally I try to do it. I try to do it once a month, um, and because at least that way I'm not going to completely freak out if because again, if I see the up and down trend, then it's like, well, here we go again. I've been beating myself up, and because I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to this. So that's why I just try to do it once a month, or maybe at least every other week, just to get an idea of how things are. Because I've been, let's see, let me try to do a month here. No. Okay. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if you can really see this well, but this is 2 months. So just before or sometime in September, see, there was a spike here, and then it dropped, and then kind of went up again, then it dropped even lower. And I think that low was, I think that was 376. And then see, it popped up again, and then it dropped again. So, it's gonna happen, and I try not to let it affect me, because it just, that's just the way your body works. I know it's not great, but I weigh daily in order to keep myself accountable. Yeah, and see, I actually was doing that for a long time too, and I mean, again, I don't know if you can't really see the dates, but see, I mean, there's been a ton of dates in here. A lot of them were once a week. That was usually what I did for. That was actually what I did for a long time, was once a week. And then sometimes I would do daily, especially if things were going well, even if things weren't going well. Let's see. Was just thinking of doing it weekly, but it scares me. Um, yeah, I think it just depends on how you deal with the good and the bad, right? Because there may be days and weeks where things are trending down, things are good, and then maybe something happens, you get sick, or you drink a bunch of water like I do, or something happens, and then it kind of goes up. Because see, like, the thing that I deal with is sometimes my weight will go up, maybe even almost 10 pounds in a day. And again, that's probably and I still, because it's not the amount of food, because I know I'm definitely not eating, I'm definitely not like consuming like 3,000 plus calories, because my understanding is 3,000 calories equals 1 pound. I'm certainly not eating 30,000 calories to gain 10 pounds, it's got to be the water. Carnivore will work, so I weigh once a week for curiosities. Yeah. I would say just be ready for the results and be ready to, if things are good, cool. If things are not good, don't worry about it. Because like I said, believe in the system. Because if this is all you're doing, if you're just eating, the meat, the dairy, do I eat a lot of butter? Sometimes. Not as much lately, but sometimes I do. And not a lot. I just cook with it. I don't put it on anything else. But believe in the system. Because if this is all you're doing is just you're drinking water or you're drinking coffee and and you're not drinking calories, you're not eating the garbage, the things are going to happen. The fat is going to come off, the body is going to get better. And yeah, it may take it may take a little bit of time for your body just to really get used to what you're doing, because especially sometimes if you don't eat enough, your body kind of goes into sort of a starvation kind of lockdown. I've seen that happen where several days will go by and the weight just kind of stays the same, but I'm eating less than I did the day before and maybe even less from the day before that. But sometimes your body's just like, hey, what are you doing? You're not giving me as much as you did before. I gotta sound the alarm. So I mean, look, if you're oh, and here's another thing. So if you've been doing this for a while and you got energy, go burn it off. Go out and walk. Go walk around your house. Try to go outside if you can. I mean, when I first started walking, back in May and June, I could barely get down the street. And my street's only it was like from my driveway to the end of the street and back was point 0.1 miles. And I would get to the end and come back and I would be on death's door. It was hard. It really was, but I went and did it again. And then after a week, I could go down and back and it wasn't as bad. And then another week I was able to go twice, up and back twice. So that there was 0.2. And then if I could, I would try to do it later in the day. So that also helps too. Because that'll also help with not only feeling better, but weight loss too, because especially in it's going to sound like I'm cheating, but I promise it's not, is you'll burn off some of that excess water. You'll sweat it out. See, that's why when I would weigh, I wouldn't do it till I came back from my walk, because that gave me a chance to burn off a pound or two of water. So, yesterday, tons of fat, ate cheese, didn't go to the bathroom, and yeah, because because that's another thing too is dairy, cheese especially, that may, I don't know, I've seen it where for me it kind of triggers sort of a constipation thing, where um it chances are when all that comes out, the the weight may drop a pound or two, but it's not going to do anything until it comes out. So, but see, again, that's where drinking a lot of water is going to help, because that helps to loosen things up. So, this whole idea of 6 to 8 glasses a day, from what I understand, a couple of videos that I've seen, that's actually bunk. But at least, because again, this, like I said, this is 32 ounces. So 3 or 4 of those a day, that's pretty much a gallon. So sometimes I may be drinking too much. So, but that's on me. But You know, I can't continue to beat myself up when it comes to that. There's no reason to do it because I know that what I'm doing for myself um, is good, and the numbers that I showed the other day prove it. And the fact that my CPAP machine, I'm getting to the point where I do not need as much air going through the machine into my into my nose and down my throat to keep me alive at night, because eventually I will lose enough that the fat in here and all the fat that would cause me normally to stop breathing will be gone, and I will be able to breathe through the night. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most. I love cheese and I'm a food addict, but I've had great success with weight loss by cutting it out, saving cheese for a future cheat day. Yep, I can never go back to the. Yeah, I mean, honestly, um, if if you know that your body reacts in odd ways to cheese or to some sort, some specific kind of food that falls into carnivore, just eliminate it. Come back to it like if you want every once in a while, especially if it's something you like, have it every once in a while, but but again, this is just me, try to make sure that you don't indulge too much to a point where then the next day, like, oh, I got to have it again. And then the next day, oh, I got to have it again. And now all those problems, that you had before with cheese, here they come. Yeah, I tell you, with the CPAP, it's really interesting because when was it? It was earlier this week that I the number was at 14 for a long time because it got to a point where I actually had to increase it because I wasn't sleeping as well. So when I lowered it the other day, um, things worked out, but and again, like I said, I'm still noticing it just seems to be more air in my lungs than I would normally need. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to try lowering it even further. And honestly, I'm really hoping I get to the point where the number is so low that I will actually have the guts to try, without having it on. So, because honestly, I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm kind of tired of it. I've been using it for so long, um, and it was just for so long. It was just part of my existence. I had to have it, otherwise I wasn't going to sleep. But now that I'm getting to the point where, hey, I may not need to have this for much longer. Now I'm kind of getting excited about that thought, and I want it to hurry up and get here. So, breathe right. Yeah. And and honestly, it may get to the point where maybe that's all I need. Just something that's just smaller, I guess, for lack of a better term, or something that's not requiring, my face to be connected to a hose, connected to a machine that one day could fail. I mean, I've had this thing for years now. Excuse me, and it may get to the point one day where it just finally gives up. And see, that was always a concern of mine because I don't have the money to go and get another one. So, I mean, if I can get off this thing finally and never have to go back, and then good lord, the idea of having to pack that stupid thing up and travel with it. Uh, so one day, I mean, I would love to be able to, May 11th of next year, be able to finally say, I am done with that, and then I don't know if any of you have ever seen Office Space, but just remember the fax machine, kind of whatever that was scene. That's what I'm going to do with that. If anybody knows what I'm referring to, I lost my CPAP. It did sleep. Yeah, it's horrible. It really is because you're. I mean, especially with me, I'm afraid to go to sleep when we lose power here, especially at night. I instantly wake up because my body is like, hey, that air's gone. And then I'm awake until power comes back on. And sometimes it may be, it could be hours. And then, by the time I finally am able to go back to sleep, it's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm only going to get like maybe an hour or two of sleep. And it's like, oh. So anything else? Wow. Hour and 15 minutes, 16 minutes. So anything else? Anything anybody want to bring up? Any questions? Do, 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 do. I'm, I guess, my hope is, at least for one of my goals, the next thing, the next goal weight that I want to get to is for 353, excuse me, and that'll be 100 pounds off. So I'm really hoping that maybe sometime in January I'll hit that goal, and yeah, that's gonna be the next one. I think the one after that will end up being. I've talked about this before, but yeah, as far as like goals, but the next one after that would be um, 320. So in 2011, that's when I had my gallbladder removed, and I was able to weigh myself in the bed, and I was at 320. So that is the next number that I want to hit, and then the next one after that would be at 299 uh, when I am below 300. So that would be the next number, and then the ultimate number for me is going to end up being 250. So I've only been doing this for 6 months. It takes you years to get this big. It may take a while to get rid of it. So I'm not in a hurry. I know that I'm doing it right. So have strategy for handling it. You know what? Again, I don't know if you were here earlier, but for most of my family, my brother. So I'll just mention this again. My brother started uh, Carnivore last week. He's lost 14 pounds, so he now knows the importance of doing this, and he's going to be hosting um, at least Thanksgiving this year. So um, the idea of having candy, well, that's more Christmas. But as far as for Thanksgiving, we're going to go more protein than anything else. So that's going to be cool. And as far as I work from home, so I don't see a lot of candy. Every once in a while there will be something here, but we don't have a lot of candy in this house. My niece and nephew. My niece is 11. My nephew is 15, and they don't eat. Geez, I don't even think I've really seen them eat a lot of candy in a long time. So as far as us, I think I'm gonna be fine because it's not around me. And like I said, I work from home, so I don't have the temptation of walking up and down some aisles where somebody has candy and then grab. So I think that's definitely one thing. If you live in a house where there's that stuff, see if you can hide it. See if you can get rid of it. I mean, does it really need to be around? Mm. Now I realize that's just in your own home, but if you're going to go to a party, if you're going to go to a family's house, um, take your notebook with you. There you go. Take your notebook, take your notes of the things that you're tracking, have it with you. Honestly, have it pulled up just underneath your lock screen. So then when you look at it, it's like, I've lost this. This isn't hurting. I don't have this. I don't have this. You know what? Or you know what? Even better, take a picture of it and keep it as your as your screen when it comes up. Then all you have to do is just tap your phone, and you can look at all the things have been going well. You know, your body is fighting against you because it wants all the junk. Well, guess what? It's time to fight back. And I think that if you had your book or had your list, that's going to really help. That's going to be a powerful weapon. Let's see. I don't have daily temptation, so occasional temptation shouldn't be a problem. At least I don't think so. And you know what? And again, it, like what I said earlier, one day at a time, one meal at a time is not a catchphrase. It is. I think that is probably the only rule that carnivores should follow. You know, if you stumble, it's just it's just one meal. It's just one time. But again, see, like again, for me, I beat myself up. I'm the first one and the last one to beat myself up. Remember your why. Exactly. Yes. Yes. I've talked about this a lot too. Know your why. Why did you start this? Why are you doing this now? You know? Because, I mean, okay, I'm going to get kind of dark here, but let's put it this way, folks. If you're morbidly obese and you watch videos like this and you think about it and you just decide, you know what, that's not for me, then it's on you. You know, things will just continue status quo. Do you want that? Honestly? Do you want to continue to be miserable? Do you want to continue to have a machine to breathe at night? And you know what? If you're not overweight, but you have digestive issues, or you have, arthritis, or you have inflammation, or you have all these different things, and there is video upon testimony upon testimony of people saying that carnivore will fix that. And you watch these videos and you weigh the pros and cons and you decide, that's not for me. Then it's on you, you know? Again, this is not the golden ticket to fix everything. And it's not like it's not one of these things where, oh, I just have to do it for a few days and I'll be fine. Yeah, this is going to be this is a lifelong commitment to fix yourself. Because what's going to happen is if you get to the point where your weight is gone or all the ailments are gone and you switch gears and and when you're done, you're like, okay, well, I'm done. Now I can go back to what I was doing before. Nah. This is to the end of days. This is to the end of time. Yeah, beating yourself up is such a horrible thing to do. Would you treat somebody else? Yeah, and that's the thing. You wouldn't. You wouldn't, because if you're like me and you see other family members and other things going on and you see them in distress and you see them having problems, you're probably going to be the first person that's going to run to them and say, hey, what's going on? How can I help? And then another family member, and then another family member, or another friend. And you go and help and help and help and help and help. But then when you turn around and you look in the mirror, you're like, I no, sorry, I can't help you. And you're looking at yourself. Uh-uh. And for a long time, I thought it was selfish for me to help me. How stupid is that? Why? Because if you don't help yourself, if you don't fix yourself, then what's going to happen when you're gone? If you are one of these people that is out there helping everybody else, helping everybody else, helping everybody else, and that is your why, but you don't help yourself, I don't know. To me, I don't know. Kind of seems selfish. I don't know. Why help everybody else when you can't help yourself? Again, I'm not trying to be mean, folks. I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I just want you to think. I mean, really, that's what this is about. Helping yourself is hard. It is. It is. Why? Because you now have to deal with the issues that are in your life and the things that have gotten you up to this point, and the fact that they've probably been going on for years and years and years. Again, if you go and talk to a friend that's been having an issue and that has been going on for years and years and years, you'll probably lovingly berate them, maybe not, but you'll probably have a really hard conversation with them. Maybe eventually get to the point where they finally understand what's going on and start to see the light and want to start making a change. But then when it comes to you, you don't want to do that to yourself. That's probably what's going. Yeah, I don't. Why should I have to go through that? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to. That's one thing about carnivore, folks. It is a it is a life altering thing. It is something that you are going to continue to do. If you do it, you will probably end up doing it for the rest of your existence. But finding out your why, finding out the reason that you need to do this is going to be hard, because you're going to have to ask yourself, why should I care? And if you are not on that list, you need to be. Now, look, I realize that it may be difficult at first to put yourself on that list, because you may say, I have a niece and nephew, I have a brother, I have my mom, I have all these people that I need to take care of. But again, what happens if you can't take care of yourself? What happens if you get to the point where, again, talking about me, you get bigger and you can't walk around? When I first started, I was at 453 and I could barely walk out the door, go to the store, and come back. Anytime I was asked to go to the store, I would hate it. I would grab onto that cart, or some people around here call it a buggy, um, and I would be holding on to that stupid thing for dear life. What would happen if I got bigger? I'm not going to be able to go to the store. I'm not going to be able to go. I'm not going to be able to go watch my niece and nephew grow up. Uh-uh. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional here if I continue. But folks, if you're going to do this, you need to find out what your why is. You need to stick to it. And if it's people, put their picture up. You know, if it's physical ailments, things that you just do not want to deal with anymore, write it down. Have it in front of you all the time. Figure it out. We seek comfort, but the struggles are worth it. If you're going, like, yeah, because when you get to that point, when you figure out your why, you start going forward, and you finally have to start dealing with you. Guess what? It's going to suck. It's going to be hard at first. It really is, but it will get easier because you'll finally start seeing the results coming a lot faster. And then you can actually do something you've probably never done before. You can go and pat yourself on the back. You can actually sit down in front of a mirror and say, Jeremy, you did good. You know? And hearing yourself say that to you about you, it's going to be one of the biggest things in the world. It's going to be amazing. And then what's going to happen is something will come along and you're going to kick yourself again. Okay. It's going to happen. Again, what were we just talking about? If you go and talk to one of your friends or a family member and they start kicking themselves, what are you going to do? You're going to go and help them, you're going to talk to them, you're going to want to uplift them. But when it comes to you, you need to figure out a way to uplift yourself. And that's why I get on YouTube, because again, I want you to hear the up and the down. I want you to hear the positive and the negative, because chances are one of you may be feeling the same thing, maybe going through the exact same thing. And hearing somebody else be able to pick themselves up and work on dusting themselves off and continuing on, that's going to help you. So, yeah, but I can't give up. Insert here. I hear it all the time. No, absolutely. It's because you don't want to deal with you. You don't want to have that conversation with you. It's the, you know, how do I say it? It's kind of childish, but you need to have a grown up conversation with yourself. And sometimes it may be that you have to get in front of a camera, and you don't even have to record it. I mean, well, no, try that again. Get on a camera. You don't have to, you can record it. You don't even have to upload it. See, that's one of the things I was talking about is, write it down, put it on your phone, or maybe even just get on camera and at least record it, and then you can go and just pretend that you are talking to a good friend of yours, but in actuality, you're talking to yourself. So stare into the camera, and then it's Jeremy, what are you doing? Why do you continue to eat this way? Why do you continue to love on everybody else and ignore yourself? What are you doing? We got to work on this. Try doing this. Talk to yourself and then switch to the screen and watch the screen and allow you to talk to you. I tell you, folks, carnivore works to change your life. It really does. But if you're just doing it to just get rid of the weight or the ailments or whatever, that's definitely a good thing. But it's also kind of paper thin because the first thing that comes along that interrupts you or that kind of breaks your concentration, breaks the flow, you may just be like, yeah, okay, it was just a fad. I'm moving on. That's why you got to have a why. You really do. Carnivore is a restrictive diet. It is. Think about all the food that that you eat now or you have eaten in the past, right? A restrictive diet just I mean it is what it says it is. You are taking all that stuff and you are reducing it down to probably like that. You're cutting out all the garbage. You're cutting out all the junk. And it's hard. It is. Every single person that you talk to, every video that you watch about people who are doing carnivore, especially in the beginning, they're going to tell you it's hard. And it doesn't even have to deal with weight loss. The farmer's wife, carnivore life, I think that's the name. Sorry. Uh, the lady that I spoke to, that I interviewed not too long ago, who lives in the UK. I think it was her and another person that, clued me into the fact that you don't have to be overweight to do carnivore. You could have other ailments, other problems going on in your life that you want to fix. But again, you gotta know why you're doing it. Thank you for giving me the talk. I didn't know I needed it till I heard it. Yeah, it. Thank you. Because it's true. It really is. Because you don't want this to be a fad. It's a fad. Okay, look. Again, I'm going to go back to the whole um, matrix thing. I'm going to present you with the red pill and the blue pill. I tell you about carnivore. You could take the blue pill and just say, nah, that's all right. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. You could take the red pill and you're going to go fully into it. Or you could take neither of the pills, take the information that I give you, go off and do it. But then as soon as something happens, you fail and back to what you were doing before. It's the same idea, the same thing I've talked about before with the idea of um, yeah, weight loss is a great why at first. Yeah, the health benefits can certainly come later. No, absolutely. Absolutely. When I first started, it was about the weight loss. It really was. But then eventually I figured out my why along the way. And I had the conversation with me and I continue to have the conversation with me. It's gonna you have to do it, you know. Have a quarterly summit with yourself if you have to. Just yeah, just sit down once a quarter. All right, welcome back to the meeting with myself. I think we're all here. Now we're going to talk about how things have gone over the last quarter. Maybe not as silly, but you got to do it. Now, what I was trying to say earlier is it's the exact same metaphor as falling off the wagon. That's something I like to talk about too. Um, when you fall off the wagon doesn't keep going. The wagon's still sitting there. In actuality, the wagon doesn't move. The wagon never moves. It just sits there. You're the one that moves away from the wagon. You know? When you turn around and finally see the wagon behind you, it's like, 2, 3 feet, 2 miles away, whatever. Well, you got to turn around and go back to it if you're gonna. But the wagon never moves. Thank you. Yeah, because yeah, when I thought about changing the name of the channel, I was like, okay, I got to find something that's gonna sound, like I'm fighting for people, because again, at first it was just me. I will be honest, it was about me. It was keeping me accountable. But the fact that people were following and people continued to follow and were watching, I was like, it's not about me anymore. I'm actually saying something that somebody wants to listen to. And that's when eventually I started thinking about changing the name, and I wanted something uh, that I think suits the kind of the way I feel about telling people about carnivore. It's like, oh my gosh, excuse me. Um, it's the same thing as like telling people about the gospel. You want to do it, you do it. Some will listen, some won't. You know, it's the same idea as falling off the wagon is same thing with God. God's still right there. You're the only one that's moved. He may even get closer, but in actuality, you're the one that's turning around and walking away from him. The two stories go hand in hand. I mean, let's be real. But what I was trying to get at before about the Matrix thing is you've got the red pill, the blue pill. But see, what happens is I tell you about carnivore ahead of time as I'm holding the two pills out in front of you. You decide for the third option. You decide, nah, I'm not going to take either pill. I'm just going to go try it. And then when it fails, then you're like, okay, never mind. It didn't work. I don't care. I give up. So, all right. So that was a lot deeper than I was planning on going. I just, yeah. Sometimes I just, sometimes I just get going on this stuff. I mean, you know, it yeah. The channel name really does fit the way that I feel about doing this. You know, I've decided that if I can ever find an artist, I know what I want to do for a T-shirt. It's going to be uh, a man in a suit of armor, um, sitting on a big fallen down tree with a fire in front of him. His shield and his sword are right there. The shield has, the logo uh, for Carnivore Crusader, and he's got a little fire in front of him, and he's holding a tomahawk steak that he's cooking. I've thought about it. I've imagined it. That's what I want to do, but I don't know an artist that'll help me do that. So if you folks are an artist or somebody that would be willing to help me sketch that out, because I can go, yeah, I've tried. I really have tried some different AI drawing things. I can get um the warrior there. I can get it all looking good, but I can't get him to hold the food. I can get everything else. Maybe I just need to get that and then somehow like Photoshop the food in. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But that's what I want to do is, you know, I want to be out there. I want to be out there for everybody. I want to help the people that I see on the street, that I meet wherever it is that I go, and then the people that I don't even get to see, but I know that, again, people are watching, people are listening, and people are responding. So that's where, that's the direction my life has got to go in, at least for the moment. And I want to try to reach as many people as I can. All right. Oh my gosh, an hour and 45 minutes. I promise I wasn't trying to be this long, but that's all right. Um, and boy, I think there was just one question that launched me into this whole thing. So I'm afraid to ask again. So does anybody have any other questions? Generally, simpler logos are more effective. No, and and that's true. It really is. But I was just thinking, um, because it could very well be that maybe I just start with, like the idea of what the logo would be like on the shield. Um, but this was just something I was just thinking about for one day. And because I would love to have, like I said, I would love to have that as like a t-shirt or a hat or something like that. But maybe what I would like to do is maybe change the icon of my face of my picture to the logo for the channel. So, you know, definitely I would, if I'm going to do something like that, I would probably come up, at least start with that. And, just kind of go from there. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree that starting with a logo or something small would definitely help to get things kicked off, like the shield idea. Yeah, I tell you that, see, because the name Londwar, if any of you were following when that was what the channel was originally called, that character name came from a D&D character that I had made years and years and years ago. And same thing. He was, a warrior, all decked out in armor. Had a big old shield, had a big old sword, and that's just the name that I've kept for all these years. And when I originally started uploading videos, that was the channel name that I was using because I didn't really care about a name at the time. It never occurred to me, so I just went with Ondor for a long time. And then actually somebody had sent me a comment and say, hey, maybe you ought to think about changing the channel name and have Carnivore maybe somewhere in there. So um so I had actually done that a few months ago, and I went to an AI chat thing and asked for names, channel names for YouTube that had to deal with Carnivore and that had to deal with fighting for Carnivore. And I got a long list, and Carnivore Crusader was one of them. And uh, I did a couple of, I think I did one poll. I may have done two in the community section where, um, I asked people, hey, what do you think about this name and this name and this name? And then eventually, a lot of people liked the Carnivore Crusader. I was actually also thinking about like something with the word bard in it too, but I felt like that was probably going to entail me having to sing, and I didn't want to do that. So you don't want me to do that. So I went with Carnivore Crusader. So that's where that all came from. All right. Well, folks, if nobody's got any other questions, I think we can go ahead and just wrap this up. But thank you, everybody, for joining. And it again, it's people that want to listen. It's people that are questioning. It's people that don't really know anything about carnivore. Even somebody who's never even heard the word but just happens to come across my videos. So it's basically everybody, but you're the people that I want to reach and I need to reach. You know, those of you who are strong, you'll help us to get strong. Those of you who are weak, I want to help you get stronger. Those of you who are questioning, I want to give you all the information that I can for you to make an informed decision. When it comes to a lot of the medical things, I may not be able to answer those, but there's definitely enough people in the carnivore community, and there's enough doctors that are out there that you can certainly find the answers. So I'm going to keep doing this. for as long as I can. And it's you folks that are helping to drive me to do this. These, thank you very much. And I'll probably do these every once in a while, but I'm going to try and at least go back to at least doing one video a week, just kind of giving updates. And also, as I start planning to do my 10K, which hopefully will be maybe sometime next year. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for joining, for sticking in for, wow, almost 2 hours. You folks have a great rest of your day, and remember that you know we may stumble, we may fall off the wagon, but nothing, the wagon's just sitting there. We're here for you. We're here to help you get back up. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care.